Well, joining me is Chris from the Peel Group. Yes, the group that does so much things with Mr. Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
This one, though, I'm fascinated to talk about because it's something you're going to do at Cooil Road and involving cannabis. Over to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is the short story, but I think there's a lot more to it than that. And thanks for the opportunity to come and explain a little bit about it. So, we've owned a site at Cooil Road for a number of years now, and I think given the local government's efforts to try and introduce this burgeoning cannabis industry.
Medical cannabis, right?
Pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical. Cultivation and export at the moment is the legislative framework, and we think that the facilities need to be created in order to facilitate the inward investment and the market participants in the industry and the sector that the Isle of Man are seeking to attract.
Well, Tyrrell's been looking at this for years. Getting the licences has been a long process, but you got this licence, have you?
Well, no, we are not actually a licence holder.
Right.
This is property development for future licence holders.
Right, so you're providing the infrastructure.
Yes, precisely that, the facilities and the infrastructure at the site. We're aware that people have made applications for licences on the Isle of Man. We are engaged at a relatively high level with those to understand precisely what facilities they're looking for. And we as a property developer, that's where our expertise lies, in delivering facilities for businesses to thrive, and that's what we're aiming to do here.
So what's the consultation about then?
Well,
with the public, right?
Yeah. So public consultation, pre-planning application, and it's very much born out of a willingness to understand and listen to people's views and concerns on the project. Undoubtedly, it's a gateway site. A huge proportion of the population will pass the site on a daily basis. It will be very visible, and we don't want to create anything that's going to offend or. We want it to. We will obviously be looking at facilities, comparable facilities elsewhere in the world, and looking to create that here, the best practice elements of it, but also be sympathetic to the existing built environment on the island.
I'm just thinking of an example, like when we had that place that grew roses, it was big, lots of glass and under
I was
cover.
very near there.
Exactly. Is that the same thing then? It's going to be under cover. It's not like fields.
No. So there are, I believe, examples of sort of greenhouse cultivation of cannabis elsewhere in the world. This is, given the pharmaceutical nature of it, it's fully enclosed. The atmosphere required to create a product of sufficient potency to serve pharmaceutical use necessitates that the atmospheric conditions are very heavily regulated, sort of airlocked entry and exit to the facilities and things like that. So fully enclosed indoors. It's not just fields of cannabis plants blowing in the wind. Okay,
it's been a long haul, and I guess this is not your area, but the other places have looked at this, haven't they? Is the Isle of Man on track, do you think?
Well, we believe, based on the consultation that the government undertook in 2019, that I think had around about 95% general public support for growth of the industry. The Isle of Man's got that base level to go out and deliver this for to provide the diversity in the economy that they're seeking. We also think that the island has a fantastic international reputation for very well-regarded regulation and legislative frameworks in order for these types of industries to grow and seed themselves and become well-established. And I've no doubt that the regulatory framework that the island is seeking to create now will be of a similar high standard.
Okay, so consulting is open. I mean, obviously, a lot of people who are against things normally get involved more than anything. Is that, how are you going to bounce up, and how do people get hold of you to do this? Even?
Well, our like I say, the press release was yesterday. The website went live, which I'm sure you'll put a link up to. PeelNREconsultation.im, I believe, but don't quote me. All the information is there on the project, CGI of the full development facility, as well as an opportunity for people to provide feedback directly through that website. We have an email address that people can formalise their requests or their inquiries. There are webinars planned, and equally there are people at the end of the phone should anybody want to give us a call and find out a bit more or provide their feedback, their thoughts on the project.
So you go to planning will be the next thing, would it?
Yeah, so there's no set time frame for submission of a planning application. We want to run this consultation and thoroughly consider the feedback that we get and make sure we incorporate the elements of it that we think will enhance the project and deliver something for the island that the population want to see delivered.
So it's still a couple of years away?
Planning application should be this year.
But by the time you get your infrastructure in?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. We, as I mentioned earlier, we are engaged with tenants and other developers in the area. It's very hard to put a firm date on when spades might hit the ground.
But if all goes to plan, this could be the next big thing. E-gaming was one thing. This could be another thing that could generate wealth for the Isle of Man?
Well, we certainly think so, yes, and I think we're aligned with the government on that. I think the current administration are seeking in their island plan to diversify the economy and create a vibrant economy. We think a new sector with huge potential globally to grow. You're already seeing a huge amount of activity in this sector in the Northern America. Mm-hmm. And in Canada, and increasingly now in the EU, although I believe the regulatory framework's a little bit more tricky in the EU. But undoubtedly, we see huge potential for growth in this sector across the globe in the not too distant future. And hopefully, with a facility such as this, the Isle of Man can play its full role in that.